All right. Well, Michael, welcome. Thanks for being here. It's
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, of course. Pleasure to have you here. And you actually been a founding member. So I think you joined, it's been a full year since you've been part of the Entrepreneur House community. And for anyone listening to this, Michael is a real estate investor, and I'll have you introduce yourself here. Real estate investor for I don't know how long, almost.
I had to be involved in real estate for at least 20 years.
So a couple decades.
Yeah.
Invests here in Medellin, Colombia. Has properties in the U.S. in multiple cities, as well as Costa Rica and in Spain. So you're quite experienced in investing. So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about like how you got started in your entrepreneur journey, and as well as specifically like what brought you to Medellin, and now you're on your second hotel here. So kind of that journey and that path.
Yeah, sure. I think I got started in real estate with Monopoly. I love playing Monopoly. Okay. Every time I rolled the dice, I'd always want to buy every single property that I saw other people like, I don't want to buy Connecticut Place. I loved buying the properties. But the way, fast forward, I think it was around college time, and a buddy had started a real estate company. And it was probably during my break time, and he said, do you want to come and help rent some apartments and make some extra money? I was like, sure. And so the first day that I worked, I made $3,000. And so when you're in college, that's a ton of money. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so that's really how I got started with real estate. So after, earning money, hustling, I took that money and started buying properties. I would say one of the earlier properties that I bought was in Kissimmee, Florida. Buddy of mine loved doing vacation rentals and loved Disney World. So he's like, oh, let's get something near Disney World. And so those were probably the first properties that I bought was in Kissimmee, Florida. Fast forward today, now I've been able to buy hotels here in Colombia. I actually came to Colombia not for real estate purposes, but came here for surrogacy purposes. My girlfriend couldn't carry a baby, so we need to get a surrogate, and we just chose Colombia as like a fun place to be and to do the whole procedure.
Wow.
COVID hit, I think, about 2 weeks later while we were here during starting the process. And so we had to make a decision whether we fly back to New York or stay here. The news in New York didn't look so good on the news, and we didn't know if we'd be able to come back because we had already started the process. So we decided to stick it out here, and now it's 4 years later, and I have a 3-year-old.
Wow!
And so that's how.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty unique reason to come to Medellin. Most people come here for the weather, or just want to visit a different country that's close and same time zone, or the women. But for you, it was a completely different. I've never heard that specific. And that was just based on the availability of the different medical,
she chose it. Like this is the location that she had chosen. And I said, you know what, why not, right? Like live somewhere else, experience another country. I'd never been to Colombia. As you mentioned, heard about the phenomenal weather, which I don't know if the cameras pick up the outside here, but it's
amazing.
24/7. It's other than rain showers, right? Like it's great here. I love it.
And so when you first came to Medellin, did you have properties outside of the U.S.? Because you have a few different spots all over the world now.
Yeah. So prior to that, in Costa Rica. Condo in Costa Rica, just because we have a business there. It's a medical center where we do aesthetic treatments and an operating room. So because we frequent going to Costa Rica, we need a place to stay, so we bought a condo over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what led you to buying property and now on your second hotel in Medellin?
So I figure I spend a lot of time here. And because I'm interested in real estate, it was just something to be involved in. And actually, at your event, you may not know this. I met my partner that I have here in Colombia, Nemo. Mm-hmm. I always remember attending that event. It was a real estate event. I was going there with my buddy, and my buddy said, oh man, it costs $40 to go. And I said, yeah, like, let's go. He's like, this is Colombia. You shouldn't have to pay anything in Colombia. I said, but I bet you if you pay the $40, it probably weeds out people who wouldn't pay the $40. It's not, it's not a tremendous amount of money.
Of course.
And he refused to go. And I said, I'm still going. And I paid him $40. I went there and I felt like I met good people at the event. I feel that, and one of the people that I met there was Nemo. And he was going out the following day to go look at hotels. And I said, can I just join? I'd love to. I want to buy a hotel. Why not?
Yeah.
And so that's how he and I got started. He picked me up in his car, and we just drove around, and we looked at 16 different hotels until we finally found the one that we were able to strike a deal with.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And I remember that event too. This was before, we had the whole community. This was, I think this was in February last year in 2024.
Yeah, you had, I remember, and maybe you can remind me about this, but I think you had people that were staying there, right? It was it was like people coming here on a trip, and maybe they were staying there co-living for like at least a month, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And do you still have that going on today?
No, now that was in February 2024, and we launched the community May, which is it's May as we record this 2025, but we launched it a year ago in May in 2024. So we actually transitioned from the entrepreneur house of co-living to the community that we have today. So it's been quite the journey. And your friend who wasn't interested in paying the $40 probably will never pay the membership fees now because they've gone up quite a bit. But
sure.
But no, I'm glad that you came, and actually from that, I think that was our first time that we got connected. But do you remember like how we originally got connected here in Medellin, or who introduced us, or how that even happened?
I don't remember. Maybe there was a flyer that went out. I don't remember how that happened. I remember, and we met there. Met Nemo, met you. And then I remember inviting you out to one of these builders brunches that we had.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how we, became friends. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been here for basically 4 years, on and off?
Yeah, I would say
more or less.
Yeah, more or less about 4 years on and off. I would say the first few years I was here more than I am now. But it's been a little bit over 4 years now.
And so when you were first here, what was that like? With your background, I'm sure you're always looking to connect with other like-minded, business type people. When you first came here, was that difficult for you? Were you able to meet a lot of those people before, the community and, things started taking off with the entrepreneur house?
Yeah. So initially when I got here, it was, as I mentioned, around COVID time. Mm-hmm. And so going out and about wasn't the same like it is today. Right. So I happened to have known people prior to coming here, and they were Colombians that were living in the U.S., and they would go back and forth. So when I found a home to live here, we lived in the same community, and it was an easy way to meet other people. As time went on, I started to explore the whole expat community, and what I love most about Colombia, what I tell everybody is the expats that I meet here, mm-hmm. right? So, and the expats say the same thing to me. They say, forget about the girls, the guys and the expats and the business people. Females can be business people as well. So the business people and business women that we meet is what's really the best part about Colombia. Mm. People here are working on amazing projects, and they are really passionate about what they're doing, and they love to share with what they're doing. And so it's great to see the passion in it, right? And people tend to be laid back too, right? So no one's trying to take advantage of other people. No one's trying to, at least from the expat community, hustle other people. They just love to share what they're passionate about doing.
Yeah, when I first came here, I came here because I was part of another mastermind. They did an event, and then from that, I traveled around the world a lot. And I came back because of exactly what you're saying, the community.
Sure.
I was just like, everything else, the weather, the cost of living, the time zone, the closeness to Miami, like all of these things But really the number one thing that really inspired me to come back here and like basically, live here full time was exactly that, the community, just the expat scene, and more specifically, the business owner scene. There's just so many entrepreneurs that I've been able to connect with now. Obviously, running the Entrepreneur House, obviously that's what I do.
Sure.
But before that,
how big is the community now, I guess?
So as of today, we're just over 80 members. I think we're on like 87, 87 members. And I remember when you joined, actually, I wasn't sure. I was like, hey, I was just like launching it, and you were in Miami, I think.
Sure.
So I wasn't sure, like, hey, he's in Miami. I'm not sure if this is even gonna be a huge benefit, but
so my mindset at that time was it's about like supporting the local community, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you just give business to people because they're local and they're around and you want to support them, you want to help them out,
sure,
right? And so I remember you calling me about it, and at that time, I think I was spending more time in Miami, and now I'm spending some more time in Spain. But you were part of my local community, and so I'm there to support you the way that you hopefully are there to support the projects that I'm working on.
Of course, yeah. No, I remember that, and I appreciate that a lot. And you come back and forth a lot, but whenever you're in town, you always hit me up, and we always have something going on. So usually you're able to get connected or get plugged in to dinner or whatever it is.
I feel like I'm always a day late when you have like the big event. I think you had the last was the charity casino event that you had.
We just did a charity gala. That was I think 2 weekends ago.
Okay. I think I came the day afterwards.
Okay.
How'd it go?
It was amazing. We raised $40,000 for charity. And it was a great time. We had a great impact on the charities, but also enjoyed ourselves and lots of great people. So, but no, you're gonna make it eventually. We have more coming up, so I'll make sure to keep you posted on those. But no, I do appreciate you like joining and supporting, because that time when you joined, it was just getting started, and there wasn't like this huge foundation where we had all these members and we had all these events that we've done, and now looking at it today, it's much different than it was. So you actually kind of saw the vision and believed in it, and now here we are 1 year later.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I remember your idea was, everywhere you went is, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, what can I do for you? I don't need anything. Like, who can I introduce you to who would be beneficial to your business? Right. And I really had liked that mindset. I had liked that motto. So
absolutely.
So I'm happy that things are moving in a positive direction.
Thank you. Right? Yeah. And that really is the core foundation, is like, there's 80 plus people that come to Medellin or live in Medellin, but there's a lot of people like yourself. I mean, really almost everyone isn't from here. So they're traveling in the US. They might go to Dubai. They might be in Spain. They might be in, Brazil, wherever. So really the community is very global, and it's very successful people like yourself who are well connected. And so really you can tap into, any type of contact, any kind of resource, pretty much anywhere in the world, and it's really just getting started. So super honored to have you part of the group. And if anyone who's a member who's watching this that wants to get connected with you, of course, we'll be able to facilitate that introduction. Anyone interested in investing in real estate,
sure,
you're
please.
a great contact. I don't know if you have any information that we can share with the public. And obviously the member base has your internal contact info they're able to reach you at. But
yeah, I mean, first we're raising money now for our second hotel project here. We actually overfunded the first project.
Okay.
So it went really well. And we're already in the construction phase of the hotel. And anybody who's interested in investing in hotels here in Colombia, please reach out. My Instagram, Eisenberg177.
Yeah, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. And my email, I have a furnished housing company, which is mike@furnishedhabitat.com.
Amazing. Well, Michael, thank you. And pleasure to have you part of the group.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.